Hello everyone, welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So I'm going to be doing a triple review here. So 3 albums in one video, and that is simply because these albums weren't ones that I had scheduled in to do at particular times. I've come across them slightly by chance or by recommendations. So I just thought, you know what, I'll just do sort of mini reviews of these 3 albums in one video. And, you know, also to kind of give shout outs to the artists as well, given that I think all 3 of these albums are pretty good and deserving of that bit of attention too. So I would recommend all 3 of these to you for sure. So I'm going to be starting off with Pure Ruth's Hymn to the Woeful Hearts, which was released on Debomere Morty Productions on the 18th of February. And the genre of this is sort of atmospheric black metal, but I would almost be tempted to say melodic black metal, because you know, it's not one of those kind of atmospheric black metals that is very heavy on the atmosphere side. It's very, it's pretty much kind of, straight up pretty ferocious black metal. Almost this album is a bit in the style of Mare Cognitum's albums. So, it's all pretty clear sounding stuff. But you have really nice melodies kind of interlaced with the faster black metal ferocious passages. So it's a really good and one of those kind of albums, and definitely one I would recommend to you if you like Mare Cognitum. This is a really good one for you if that's up your street, so to speak. Footprints of the Lost Child is, I think, one such example of where they do this style extremely well. You've got the heavy and intense black metal kind of bars to begin with for a lot of this track, but it develops into beautiful guitar harmonies that kind of leave you pretty much hooked after one listen. That's all it will take, I think, with a couple of these tracks. It's really good stuff. And I think, the drumming is excellent too, from Yuri Kononov, I believe is the drummer on this album. Let's him up as he kind of switches between, the faster black metal stuff, the intense stuff pretty well, and some inventive, I think, drum patterns he does as well with the slower parts of the album too. And I think the beautiful thing as well is the cover art here. So I would recommend that you listen to this album whilst kind of looking at the cover art, because the story that has inspired this album is certainly, I think well captured as well by that cover art. And it's just, an authentic experience you can have is just sort of, listening to this full album. It's not too long, 45 minutes, and enjoying that cover art at the same time. It's one of those kind of experiences albums. As I say, Mare Cognitum fans definitely go for this one. It's a really good one. I'd give this album an 8 out of 10, I think, is my score for Pure Ruth's Hymn to the Woeful Hearts. Next up is Devils of Loudun, Escaping Eternity, released on Artisan Era on the 11th of February. The genre of this is kind of melodic death metal. It's pretty technical as well, and they have a symphonic elements, sort of as well. I think it was George in the comments that recommended me this album, so thank you very much for that. I really appreciate recommendations always, and this is a very good album. I was pretty impressed by this. I believe this is a band that shares, and I don't know the band members so well, but I think there are a couple of Ethereus band members in this band. I could be wrong, but that's what I think. And there's all that sort of sound, but this is kind of more in the style of a band like Black Dahlia Murder. It's not as fast and rapidly kind of technical and overwhelming. The tracks feel sort of overall in the album a little, pretty cohesive and fitting together quite well too. But there's a very recognisable style going on here, as I say, particularly in the vocals and the vocal delivery, that really remind me a lot of the Black Dahlia Murder. But that serves no harm to this album whatsoever, really. I mean, I think it's still an excellent album. The track Incarnate, I liked the sort of neoclassical guitar style in that, about halfway through that track, which was fantastic. Anamnesis showed the ability, I think, of the band, to do those really ambitious sort of, tempo changes, some great moments as well with the Black Dahlia Murder like chorus, a really good riffage in that track too. The Death of Sleep kind of pummels you with some chunkier riffs, combining with all the symphonic little touches here and there as well. But actually my favourite tracks on this album might have been 2 of the shorter ones, Praise the Eternal Nightmare and Formless, which were I just loved those ones. I loved the kind of Formless's, that main riff and the little variations they were doing in that one. and it was just unrelenting, just 3 minutes of a kind of a slap in the face, so to speak, in the best way possible. So yeah, I enjoyed Devils of Loudun Escape in Eternity. I think I'm going to give that one an 8 out of 10. It was pretty lengthy album for that style, I guess, but still very, very strong. Third album on here is Cloakroom's Dissolution Wave, released on Relapse Records on the 28th of January. The genre of this one is kind of alternative, heavy shoegaze. And this was, I'd say, if you like Nothing, Hum, maybe even later era Deftones fans. So if you like Koinoyo Can and Gore, you probably enjoy Cloakroom's Dissolution Wave. It's pretty fuzzy, pretty ambient as well at the same time. Certainly has quite a shoegazy feel with a lot of reverb, a lot of interesting sound textures and soundscapes. Perhaps more for those of you that are a fan of unusual soundscapes and dreamy kind of sounding guitars. Like me, I guess I do like a lot of this style. The singing by Tim Remus here is very light touch, pretty low in the mix lot of the album, but at other times it's also quite clear. In the track Doubts, which for me is one of the stronger on the album, has a slightly more accessible and less abstract kind of feel to that track, but it's very effective and shows us that, Cloakroom, I think, have another side to them, as well as doing the slightly more disorienting but dreamy, fuzzy songs that they also do. And, you've got another track which is perhaps slightly different from that sort of straight up heavy shoegaze sound. Fear of Being Fixed is a heavy, slightly more abrasive kind of fuzzy tone on the guitars, but again, it's quite a nice detour as well from this album about halfway through the album, which I did quite enjoy. And perhaps my favourite on this album was the album Closer Dissembler, with this really kind of lovely rhythm towards the end of that track, which got stuck in my head, which I really enjoyed. So whilst this is still an album which is pretty unapologetic in its approach, it still offers enough, I think, on the songwriting front to be one of the sort of of the alternative kind of genre. If he's kind of used the alternative metal label a little bit sort of reservingly, but I'd still say this is one of the better ones from that kind of a style that I've heard so far this year. I haven't heard many, but one of the better ones, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. I would give this one, I think, a 7.5 out of 10. So thanks for watching that triple review from me today. I do have coming up, I'm thinking of trying to do another album review. I just listened to the new Legion album for the first time last night. I was pretty blown away by it. So that is one I'm going to try and review during the week if I can. I may not make a promise about that just in case. But yeah, I may try and do a review of that just because I thought it was pretty awesome. And then coming up next weekend is my, finally, I'm going to be doing another one of my sort of year-end list type videos for 2019. We're doing a countdown of my top 20 albums of 2019. So that's going to be next weekend on Saturday. All being well, and I will be really looking forward, as I say, doing those list videos. Takes a bit more preparation time, so I'm not always quick getting to those, but once I do, hopefully you guys will find that it's hopefully worth the wait, and I'll probably be following on that with 2018, probably some point in early April as well. So thanks everybody for watching, take care, and for me it's bye for now.